What's up?
Hey, sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was still connecting to the audio.
It's all right. No worries. How things going with you?
They are going really well, actually. I'm so glad that school is over. At least, holy. I
You,
was talking. What?
I was gonna say you sounded like that week was like the worst week ever.
It really was because, like anything, it's a mental battle. Like, you know what you need to get done, albeit it's not the funnest stuff to get done, and then having to do so without really having another space to do it in besides the space where your dogs are like kind of going crazy at each
Mhm.
other and where everything kind of intersects between work and
Yeah.
home life. It's so hard to focus and to um, a live performance exam is so much easier because once you're in front of your panel,
hmm
once you're starting, there's no stopping and starting over. But we had to record all of our performance exams.
hmm
I was like, no, that's not good. And so I'd stop the camera and I'd start. And oh man,
Oh, try to make it perfect.
it was a grueling process for
Yeah.
sure. It took me 2 days to get all of the recordings that I wanted, and
Wow.
essentially that's only like 20 minutes of music.
That's crazy. That so like it's because of Corona that you had to record everything. Otherwise, you'd be in front of like live people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but on your end, how you doing?
we haven't caught up in such a while. A lot of things happen. So like this apparently so that we lost power for a while, and there was some storm that came through, and we were texting like back and forth, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it was literally me and my wife were driving home. The storm hit. It literally lasted for like 10-15 minutes and knocked down like every tree you could think of, all the
Oh
power
my
lines,
God.
and like 100,000 people were like out of power. So it was a mess, and I started like cooking outside, more all that stuff. Like, see, the cooking part isn't hard. Like if you're just grilling outside, it's not a big deal, but it's all constantly like trying to reheat your food, like because
Mhm.
anytime you're trying to like eat warm food, you got to start a fire. Like, you can't do it, like it's just like old times. I was gonna say savage times, but yeah. So,
Dang, that's crazy. I didn't even think about the cooking part until you just brought it up. But it's crazy. I'm glad that's not me. My apartment complex, you're not allowed to have your own grill.
yeah, a
So
lot of apartments are like that. Yeah, that's you would, I don't know what you would do. You would just
just
have to.
eat canned beans.
That's it. That's it. Like, you just have to eat canned food, which isn't like a terrible idea, but for some reason I wasn't thinking about it. I think a big part of that is when the power died, we still had a lot of food in the fridge. So it was like
Oh,
the fridge was going out, so it takes a little bit for it to get warmed up. Like, it still
hmm.
keeps it cool for a little bit. And so we were trying to figure out ways to eat this food. I
Have
tried
you
to make,
seen
go ahead.
Have you seen Friends where Joey eats all the food in his fridge? He's like, I gotta eat all this food, and it's like eggs and like cookies and all this random like pizza, and he's just like stuffing his face.
Is that for the
Have you
same
seen
reason?
it? I think so. I think
That's
so. I think it's like
that's
power went
crazy.
out or something. So I'm just picturing you and your wife just like
Yeah,
trying to eat every single
it
thing.
was basically like that. And I'm not like, I can grill on like pretty well, but like reheating food is tough because I don't know how like hot it like is and how hard the fire needs to be. So we were making this reheating this fettuccine alfredo stuff. Definitely burned most of it. I was like, my wife's like, I can't eat this. This is like, all I'm tasting is burn. I was like, well, I made it. I'm still eating it. I'm like, there's no way.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
so fun.
yeah, so they finally got it up. I called the electric company like the third or fourth day, and I was like, "Look, can y'all give me like an ETA or
3
something?"
days?
Yeah, I was like, "Can you?"
Holy crap.
And see, I had a lot of shows too lined up, so I had to like message everybody and be like, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't do it." Everybody was cool to reschedule, but
Yeah, of course.
it was just a mess. And I called them, and they were like, I was like, can I get like some kind of idea like of when you're gonna at least work on it? And they're like, well, let's see what kind of notes they put in here. So they look it up, and they're like, they've assessed the problem. I was like, so
Definitely not.
I'm like, are they gonna fix the problem? I mean, they might have assessed it. Like they're like, sir, there's a
Well, the
200,000
power's
people.
out.
Yeah, yeah. So assessed problem, power's out. Okay, I did that too. So I mean, I'm trying not to be like a jerk because I do know that
Yeah.
they have a lot to, to work on. A lot of people, but still, I was like, could have given me more than just that.
That's crazy though. I can't imagine not having power for 3 days. Like,
Yeah.
dang. Did you guys at least have a cooler or anything to keep your food in?
Yeah, yeah, we got cool a bunch of ice, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. That happened to me in New Mexico one time. Like I was telling one of my friends, so in July we have monsoon season, which is shocking to a lot of people, but like the whole month of July, it just rains so much in New
Hmm.
Mexico, which is good because it doesn't usually rain. It's so dry
Yeah,
and
you
hot over
need it.
there.
Yeah.
So, but the power literally went out as I had come home from a grocery trip. I was like, you got to be joking. And at the time, I was like a super poor college student. So those groceries were like my children. I was like, no, I just spent so much money on all of this food. What am I going to do? So I had to just like hunt down my neighbors and ask them for a cooler and everything.
Yeah.
And luckily, mine only lasted like, I think it was just a day,
Hmm.
but still it was rough, and it was kind of scary because the neighborhood I was living in was kind of sketchy, and
Yeah, yeah.
I was living by myself at the time, so to be completely in the dark, it's raining and have no
Sure.
power, and my phone was dying. I was like, what is going to happen next? I felt like it was a horror movie
Yeah,
plot.
yeah, that's the other part we were thinking about too. Is like our neighborhood isn't bad at all, but it's like it's just the average neighborhood, not bad, not great, average. And but I mean, people could come from anywhere and try to break in. They don't have to be living in your neighborhood, so we were like, our alarm is down, it's dark. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
if somebody breaks in, I'm going to war.
I know. Well, especially during times like this, people are kind of,
Yeah,
losing their
yeah,
minds a
we had
little
that
bit.
illness
So then,
thing.
yeah, on top of, Corona having your power go out, people, might make some really bad
And they
decisions.
have. I heard on the news there's a lot of like crime type of stuff is being kind of raised, a little bit. Like I tell you this, this isn't like crime, but I believe it was a scam. So we're about to leave the house, and I'm outside. My wife is getting ready to come out, and I'm by my car, and this lady, I see her like walking from door to door. So she was like, she comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, my son died from corona. We're just trying to get money to bury him.
Whoa.
We're just, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm a very skeptical person in general. Like I was born in the Soviet Union in Russia. Like I'm very skeptical of everything, and
Yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'd love to help. I said, but obviously, I'm gonna have to speak with my wife and before I part with any kind of funds. So, do you have like
Good,
any?
good man.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
man.
So I was
Always
like,
have another
yeah,
life.
that's always like a good. That's always like a good way to say something, and then you kind of get an idea of what the person's about, right? So then,
Yeah.
so then I was like, "Do you have like any way I can contact you, let you know what my decision's going to be or whatever?" Well, not really. I was like, "You have me a phone number or anything that I can like give you a call
You're
or
like,
text?" No, no. Well, I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to help you then." And I was like, "Sorry for your loss." Personally, I don't think anybody died in family. That's just my opinion because there's a lot of these types of scams that are going around now. So I don't know if
dang,
you've
that's
heard
so. Mm-mm.
a
I
while.
haven't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if you heard a while back there were like people dressed up as like in white chemical suits or whatever, and like going around neighborhoods saying that they were like testing for corona or something like that, and then the people would let them in and then they would rob them. So yeah,
That's
it's
awful.
going down.
No, I haven't heard. I definitely did not hear about that. That's also really sick and sad on a deeper level that people are
Hmm.
using this to take advantage of good and scared people.
Yeah.
But I just know like in my apartment complex, all of the doors automatically lock, so you have to have a key fob to even be able to enter your own like
Nice.
apartment building. So like we have
Nice.
a vestibule where mail gets dropped, and then you have to be buzzed in, or you have to have the fob. So I feel really good with that.
Yeah.
But someone was like just allowing people, like buzzing them in after them, and these people were like coming door to door to try to sell electricity, but at the same time it's like you don't even know if people are trying to what, you know what I mean, like you
Yeah.
don't, that might be their spiel, but you don't know why they're trying to get into the apartment complex, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure,
So
sure. Well, first of
uh,
all, if they're trying to sell electricity, then they need to go to the apartment. Well, first of all, how do you sell electricity? Are they like selling a generator or what?
no, so they work for the electric company. The only reason I know this is because I actually used to be in sales in this specific
Oh, okay.
region with electricity. So basically what they'll do is they'll work for a company, and that company will be endorsed by like an electric company, and so they'll try to sell you like a cheaper rate than whatever the like whatever your main line is selling you.
Oh,
So
I see. I see.
so
Okay.
yeah, so they can do that, and like some companies have really good deals, and that's only set for a limited amount of time, and then if you don't renew, then the like the rate goes up, you know, like the normal
Right.
kind of thing.
So,
But
so here,
anyway, so they were trying to do that.
yeah. So here's my question. You live in an apartment, which means that you don't own the place. So why are they coming up to individuals and asking and talking to them about that? Shouldn't they be going to the apartment, like, headquarters or whatever it is? The
They can try to do that, but actually, like, even though we live in an apartment, we pick the companies that generate our electricity
Oh,
that we
really?
want to
Wow. Okay.
pay. Yeah, so like while there's a main line, ours out here in Pennsylvania is like PPNL, that's our main electric company,
Yeah.
and that's who you always pay your bill to. So that's never going to change, but you can change the people who do generate your electricity, and they can give you like a lower rate, or they can give you incentives. So the individual can actually, sorry, can
Okay.
actually pick that out for you, or the individual can pick that
Yeah.
out for
Yeah.
themselves if they
Yeah.
want to. And they can kind of hop around,
Uh-huh.
usually at least like 3 times in a year without any kind of penalty. But it is sketchy to like want to come in without even having an introduction. And our apartment
Right.
complex kind of shut that down immediately. Like they sent out a mass email and they were like, "Hey, we have heard that there are people that are soliciting. There's absolutely no soliciting allowed on this property.
Right.
And also, don't let these people into the apartment complex because you don't know if they're actually true solicitors anyway."
Right,
So,
right. So yeah, that's the scary thing. It's like you have to be cautious. You have to be careful because it's like there's a lot of that going around, and you don't want to be caught up in something like that. It's a
mhm.
scary
Puts a
situation to
lot,
be in. Hey,
yeah, puts a lot more people in danger.
yeah. Have you I thought you said you bought a mic. Are you using it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. I didn't see it. Hey.
Yeah, it works. It works better like when it's down at an angle
Gotcha.
versus
Gotcha. It's the same one I
upright.
have. It's the same.
Oh, the
Yeah, it's
Yeti.
a Yeti. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I like it. It's cool. Um,
Yeah, it works great for teaching online. Oh my gosh, it's made a huge difference in my fitness classes
yeah.
online.
How's that going anyway? I saw like on IG you posted a bunch of stuff. It seems like
Yeah.
you've got a whole following over there.
Yeah, it's been going really well. I'm actually, so when I first moved here, I obviously don't know many people in Pennsylvania, at least in
Mhm.
Allentown. And so it was really hard to kind of find a studio to teach in. And then right when I found a place that I could start substituting yoga classes at, Corona happened. And so, of course, so I have a lot of people back home in New Mexico. Me and my best friends kind of all built up that community. We started having like maybe 3 to 5 people in a class, and then by the time I moved, we were having 50 to 60 people at the classes.
Wow.
So it was like a really big community that
Yeah.
we built up. So when I moved, it was really hard for me. But because of this, our company that we work for allowed us to start teaching classes online
Hmm.
and charging for classes. So a lot of people from my hometown are able to hop in on a workout with me. There are a lot of people who have seen my workouts posted on the streaming platform. They've seen they've seen my workouts and they love my workouts, but they've never been able to work out with
Yeah.
me. So they'll also be able to hop in on a Zoom. And then the most recent thing that I launched and started last night was my 6-week transformation series. So it's got
Mhm.
nutrition, it's got five live workouts a week with me that are also recorded and archived. So if, say, like, you work late or something happens, life happens still,
Right.
you can access the recording later. Plus, it's an accountability group, as well as, like, I offer support hours and education for anatomy and muscle engagement. And then I have an in-house nutritionist that is offering, like, meal guidance and support and education as
That's
well.
pretty extensive.
Yeah, and it's a steal of a price too. For 6 weeks, it was $99.
Oh yeah, that's good. Is there like a link or anything?
Right now the link is closed, but I will open it. I'll send it to you, and I'll open it back up
Yeah,
in
I'll tag it
weeks.
in this video, and then
Yeah. It's
IG
called
page.
it's called the asset audit. So it's very much based upon growing your glutes, but also we do obviously do core workouts as
Mhm.
well, and all of those things. And it's done to really fun music as always. So
Yeah.
it's been a good time. I've been waiting to do something like this probably for over a year now. I've kind of been sitting, like, just
Hmm.
on the information, on the idea. I was like, oh, I'm nervous, like, I'm not ready, it's not perfect. And then I was like, well, even if you don't feel ready, just start doing
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of, like, you want to interrupt yourself with those thoughts, and no one's ever going to feel ready or perfect. So you may
Sure.
as well just do it anyway, because people have already gotten so far ahead by just throwing themselves out there and then
Sure.
perfecting it as they go through the
Sure.
process. That's what I.
That's the only way to do it, because it's never gonna be like, you're not gonna come out like an NBC, like perfected show, or like an HBO perfected show. It's like, well, you don't have that kind of money behind you. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna like put out a show, then you're gonna like find out what you need to change, how to make it better. Then you're gonna tweak it. Then it's like our shows now are like so much better than like our first one or whatever.
Mhm.
It's because it's like we're just kind of perfecting it as we go along. Here's the other thing that I've noticed is that a lot of us, like YouTubers, podcasters, people that are not like celebrity status or anything like that, have so much better quality than like even the celebrities now. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, our video right now is really good quality, like you can tell, right? And it doesn't take
Mhm.
much, and we take it for granted now. Like,
True.
the celebrities had to switch over to Zoom, and it looks terrible. They don't know what they're doing. My wife and I were looking over like Housewives of Atlanta, and they had to do their reunion on Zoom. It was
No.
terrible. It was terrible. I'm like, you would think you like would have. I mean, you've got all the money in the world. Like, how do you not know how to like function? Because they're not used to that. They're used to functioning in person. So everything went
Yeah.
online. Now they're like, now they're behind all the people that did this before, like on Zoom, and other like online platforms. It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's so nice too to see the kind of, like, I think the support should always have been there, but it's nice to see how people are placing the importance now on being creative and entrepreneurial during a really difficult time. And it's also really cool to kind of see the personalities that are arising because of the situation, because I'm starting to see, and this is not to make anyone feel bad, but I'm starting to see kind of a divide where people are like, okay, well, if I can't go back to work, I may as well make something work for me right now. And now all of these plans and creative ideas
Right.
are starting to spin out, and you're seeing so many people too become so much more supportive. Whereas in like, even like 6 months ago, if you had said, oh, like, I'm doing a podcast, everyone would be like, oh,
Right.
you're just like everyone else. But now it's like, oh, can I have a link? Can I
Right.
listen to what you have to say? And
Right.
it's like,
Right.
okay, now you're saying that, this is the kind of spirit that we do need. It is inspirational. People do need this. And it stinks that it took a pandemic for people to see that these things are important, and creating really amazing content and conversation is important. But at the same time, I'm super grateful for it, because how else would they have realized it? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. There's a lot more interest in the internet. Like, you would think that was impossible because of how big online stuff was, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, but now it's even more so. Like, especially like you said, like all the content, like on all the different platforms, is just so much more, and it's also so much more in depth, and how can I say, like like fuller, like not as superficial, like because I think people,
Yeah.
like you said, people have time, they have like they're thinking more, so it's not just like maybe a quick video. Now they're putting more like thought into, even just
Mhm.
the basic IG videos that people do. Like they're a lot more in depth. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot more interesting. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. That's been something that's been really amazing to see, and also how a lot of the schools have rallied. Like my school, I've never felt more taken care of in
Hmm.
this whole process, and like my teachers have been so supportive. Like switching online, they're like, hey, like if something is going on, if you are mentally like not okay, please reach out and let us help you. Like
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful thing to see that there's starting to be more community, which is something that I think everyone's kind of needed because due to certain things there's been a really huge divide for the last couple of years, and so I think it's really nice to see that a lot of people are starting to come together and start to be a community again, no matter what certain people's beliefs are,
Yeah.
whether that be like personal, religious, political. Like a lot of people I feel like are starting to really just come together during a difficult time, and I've just really enjoyed seeing that, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a positive. When you say it would divide, you mean your school was divide?
Just people,
Oh,
just the
in
general
general.
populace, like people were so disconnected because the only way people wanted to connect was online, and now seeing that it's the only way we have, now these connections online are becoming more meaningful than rather
Right.
than superficial.
That's a good word to say. That's what the word that I was looking for. Meaningful. Meaningful is correct. Yeah, everything is just becoming more meaningful. So, yeah. Um, how long do you have left in your school, by the way?
I have, well, it depends on the route that I want to take. I'm not really in a rush to leave this school only because the education has been so good. So technically, if I wanted to get it all done, I could be done by next May.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of thinking about taking less classes so I have a little bit less stress
Hmm.
as well. And just kind of prolonging it probably by another semester. So year
Yeah.
and a half maybe.
So
But
bad.
yeah, I might get another master's degree actually in music therapy. So I'm currently looking into what those audition processes and scholarship applications are looking like too.
You're gonna need
So
a lot of space behind your name whenever you like sign, you put it on IG. There's gonna be a lot of letters. Like
I know, I
I, I,
know,
I've
I
seen
know.
I've seen people like that that have a lot of degrees, and I'm like, is this the alphabet they put behind their name? Like, what is like, but it's not an order, so like, what's going
No,
on?
I know, I know. It's
Um,
crazy. It's so funny. I always say when people have too many degrees, it cancels them all out and makes them an idiot. So that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm
that's
like, no,
funny.
I'm a weird person. I love school. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw, but school just ended for me on Friday. And then Saturday, I started my first unit of my 200-hour registered yoga teacher training online. So it's like, okay, music
Nice.
school's over. Now it's time for yoga school.
So you're always
And
you're
then
always like trying to improve and become like just better than you were before.
yeah, I just get scared. And two, with when you become like a, I don't want to say leader because that almost sounds kind of culty,
Hmm.
but in a fitness sense, like when you become a teacher and a
Right.
trainer,
Right.
my biggest thing is like, okay, I won't know anatomically how to, describe this so someone understands it. And you just always want to have fresh like workouts and keeping it fun, but you also want to provide the person with the education. One thing I actually talked about in my accountability transformation group today was that the reason why I take so much time to explain things is because I don't want someone to go, oh, I'm doing this workout because Sierra told me to. Because when I used to study and work out with people, I would just, they would tell me what to do and I would never ask a question as to
Yeah.
why. So then when someone would ask me a question like, why do you do that workout? I'd be like, oh, because so and so told me to. And I would feel really ashamed that that was my answer because it's like, well, why am I doing this? Why do I
Hmm.
not know why I'm doing what I'm doing? So I just love attending trainings because also no matter where you are along your fitness journey, whether the training is with someone who's been training people for 20 years, or if it's like if you're a newbie trainer and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, you can learn from all ends of the spectrum. So not even just from the person leading the training, you're getting content and tips from people that are on that journey with you, people who have just started their journey and who are younger than you, and giving you fresh perspectives. So that's why
Yeah.
I love doing these trainings, and I love staying in music school, because there's people that are always, there's always going to be the younger person that's better than you, but
Right.
you want to know what you're up against, and not in a bad way, but I have really excellent colleagues who are younger than me, and in the past I may have been threatened by that, but now it's just like, dang, they're really good. I
Mhm.
want to be like that. And
Right. Right.
it's a big motivator now.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting how that works, how people like have different viewpoints. Like sometimes people look at someone who's better than them and they feel like threatened in a
Insecure.
negative way, you know? And then others, and this comes in athletics and everything else. And then they look at
Mhm.
someone else and another person will have a viewpoint of, okay, they're better than me. Now, what do I have to do to get to that level? Like, so yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important too. If you see someone that's better than you, the thing that I always used to do, especially when we would have these music intensives over the summer, 2 years ago, I attended 3 music intensives over one
Mhm.
summer, which was a lot. So I was in Maryland, I was in California, and I was in Europe. And so there was a lot of people that were, way better than me, that were younger than me, and that's totally fine. Like, and at the time, obviously, I was a little intimidated and threatened, but then
Mhm.
I was like, I can go one of two ways. I can stay negative. I can try to put them down and go, oh, well, you're young. You don't have the maturity. You don't have the wisdom
Mhm.
behind, what you're doing. Or you could go, okay, you can go up and befriend this person and ask them how
Right.
they got where they're going. And I think that's the better route to
Right.
take.
Right. So is this idea of like someone who's just naturally like talented real, like someone who's like a Mozart who's like just a genius in music from the beginning, like is that real? Is that like, have you seen somebody like that?
Yeah, I have. There's this amazing cellist who, if you go on YouTube, it's like this prodigy cellist will amaze
Hmm.
you. Her name is Sajari Britt. I met her a few years ago. She was 13, and I was
Wow.
like in my 20s.
Yeah.
She was incredible, but I also want to recognize that people's circumstances are also different. So, this girl was raised in New York City to a kind of like wealthier family. I don't want to say rich, but they did have the money, obviously, to live there. They
Hmm.
got her a stellar teacher, stellar education, and she had to work her butt off
Yeah.
practicing hours and hours and hours a day. So it does exist, definitely, but I also like to tell myself, like, they have just put in their 10,000 hours before I have.
Right.
And
Right.
that might be true because you don't know the sacrifice that those kids have to make. Like, a lot of
Sure.
them sacrifice, like, they don't get to have, I don't want to say normal because that sounds like I'm shaming, but like a childhood where you're playing on the playground, where you're
Right.
just like riding a bike till 7 o'clock at night. Like, they're in regimented, hardcore schedules, practicing hours and hours on end with probably very strict parents as well,
Yeah.
as far as making them sit down and practice 3 to 5 hours a day, starting at age 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's
No,
just
that's
insane.
very true. I saw a lot of that when I used to grapple and wrestle. You see guys that were like so incredible, and then like you'll find out their background history, and like they basically were like raised on the wrestling mat, like since they were kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that that definitely plays a part. But I think talent is there. I think once talent is like
Oh, for sure.
cultivated, that's when it really starts to shine.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely a mix of natural talent and crazy work ethic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very true.
So
I don't know if you saw, like I posted on IG. I only did like one story on it, but I think only one. I started making like mead. Do you know what mead is?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw.
It's like a honey wine that like Vikings used to
Yeah.
drink. That's actually where they get the word honeymoon from. It's like because after they would get married, they would just drink like the mead like for party for like a week. So
It's
yeah, so I
awesome.
was like, well, a guy came over my house to do like extermination or whatever, like just kind of spray around the yearly thing that every 6 months or something like that. And he was like telling me about how he got into beer, making beer. I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, I was thinking about doing mead. I was like, oh, really? I was like, what is that? Because I like mead. So I looked it up, all that stuff. So I started, doing. So it's fermenting right now. It's like 2 months from now.
I know. I saw. I was like, dang, that looks awesome. I was gonna tell you, like, hey, ship me some.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. So I was like, obviously, I will, people that I know and that are my friends, I would just give them, some. But I was thinking, I was like, well, how can I make this into like a business if I'm going to make a bunch of it? So I
Mhm.
was like, to avoid any kind of licensures and stuff like that, because I know like there's probably some kind of rule or law. I was like, instead of charging, I'm just gonna have like suggested donation. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be like,
how a lot of people are getting away with certain
yeah, I'm
things.
gonna be like, it's free. I'm giving it to you, but there's a suggested donation. So,
Yeah, yeah, for
look,
sure. Yeah,
look at this face. Please give me some
yeah.
money.
It's like, would I ever lie about anything? I
Come
just need
on.
a suggested donation of
Yeah,
$20.
exactly. Yeah, exactly twenty
Yeah,
dollars. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about that, but I'll have to
That's
wait a
awesome.
few months to get it. You know,
So
to drink it.
isn't it so cool though, like how you can start to look up and learn things in this abundance of time
Yeah,
too. You're like, hey, I want to make mead. What's the process? Okay, I'm gonna just do it, and you can
yeah,
just do it. Like I don't know. I just think it's so cool that we have all of this education and all of these resources at our literally at our fingertips
exactly.
that
Like,
can come in. You know,
yeah,
so it's
it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, before, what would you have to do to make meat? I mean, you have to learn the process. You have to find somebody to, now I just go on YouTube, find somebody who knows how to make meat and do what they do, and
yeah.
perfect it. So yeah, very true, very true. Anything
And
else going on?
I mean, if you do turn that into like something lucrative for yourself too, like you could even like if you watch that one video, but then you're like, oh, this other way worked for me. You can make your own video on it. You know,
Exactly.
someone's one way may not work for everyone. That's the thing that I'm
Sure,
learning with leading
sure.
workouts. It's like no one thing gets you the same result. So you can always post whatever you need to post. Like I
Yeah.
was nervous. I was like, oh, the market's oversaturated, yada yada yada. But then it's like, no, it's not oversaturated. It's only oversaturated if you think it's oversaturated.
Right, right. Well, and then there's also has to be something like about you that like people find
Yeah.
interesting, and it's like,
Like you connect
obviously,
with.
yeah, obviously you got that because like I was looking at, like I said, your Instagram stuff every time you post, and like, I mean, it's pretty intense. Like your workouts are pretty intense. I was sweating looking at them. I was like, oh,
You're like, what is she doing?
yeah, I was like, this is pretty, and you also like talk during the training. How hard is that? Is it hard to like talk?
Oh my gosh, to build up that kind of lung capacity while you're like breathing really hard, you're
Yeah,
teaching a hit workout, and then you have to think like what's going to happen next and make sure you say it in a way that people can understand it.
yeah,
Holy cow. It gets hard, but it's actually kind of fun. And actually, my teacher told me, she's like, Sierra, now you're talking too much. Like in the beginning, you weren't talking enough, and now you're just like over explaining. She's like, so just find your happy medium. But
yeah.
I always like I said, I always want everyone to be on the same page. So I always try to talk out loud so people can
Hmm.
understand,
Yeah,
not to hurt themselves. That's why I'm always talking, is because I'm like, turn your feet out this way, do this, but
yeah,
also
yeah,
have a good time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's different because it's like I'm used to you talking to me like on this platform, but then when I hear you
Yeah.
like when you train, I'm like, oh, I was like, I feel like jumping up and down myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Uh,
Yeah, I love what I do, and that's my favorite thing is like a lot of people are like, oh man, like your classes kill me, and I'm like, trust me, like they take a lot out of me too, but I'm like the funnest part is that we're all accomplishing it together, and it makes me so proud to see people, especially now that everything's going on, for people to
yeah.
start taking a stand for their health and wellness and understanding that that is something that cannot be what is it, taken for granted.
Hmm.
It's just been so rewarding to see so many people actually go, okay, yeah, I want to spend the money to take care of myself because I wasn't doing it before, and that was not okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I start to see that, I just start to get even more excited, and then more crazy ideas start coming into my head. I'm like, let's do all
Yeah.
the things.
I mean, that's what
So it
makes
just makes me
that's what
happy.
makes the days interesting, life interesting, to have like new and creative ideas. And I'm not like naturally a creative person, but I think that's something also that you can develop. Like you just need to find like the platform that you can be creative in and successful in. Like, I'm not going to start drawing, or like, if I'm not going to be the best, I'm not going to be the best like artist, even if I do start drawing, but this platform, I enjoy. And so it's one of those things.
And you kind of just get to dive in and geek out over all the,
Yeah.
videos and reading now that you kind of have, I'm sure, I know you still work from home, but you kind of have a little bit of extra time
Sure.
without
No.
shoots and things like that. So that's what I've been doing too. I'm like, oh, I want to watch a YouTube video on this. And boy,
Yeah.
I've been geeking out so hard on the cello too. Like if you go to my YouTube, like the suggestions, it's like how to build your glutes, Mozart, proper lifting technique. And then it's like, what did Brahms do here? And it's oh my God, this
That's
mix
hilarious.
is hilarious.
That's hilarious. Yeah. But but I mean, those are your interests. That's what's up. Just the important thing is, stay safe, but don't inject Lysol, apparently.
Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, you know what? I do have a question for you. Have you made any crazy impulse buys lately?
Crazy impulse buys. Well,
not crazy, but like anything that would be funny.
Funny? Your dog is like really wants your attention.
She like it won't change once you're gone. Like I can give her all the attention in the world for 6 hours. The second I get up, she's like, "Where are we going?"
Yeah, my dog is that same way. I had to put her out of the room because I was like, she's not going to give me any like time, So, and I'm not.
They don't get along this morning, so I had to have one of them in here.
Yeah, no worries. I was just saying, like, because I'm sitting in a chair, so she's gonna come up and like try to get up on like the chair and all that stuff. So, it's gonna be a mess. Impulse buys. I don't know. Like, there's not really like any funny impulse buys. I mean, I got a bike. But it's not funny. It's not funny. Yeah, but well, the bobbleheads, yeah, for sure. Those are pretty funny. And it's like
those are my favorite to see on your story, the little bobbleheads. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's funny because like every time I go to like a store like Target or something like that, I've been like looking at them, and it's like my wife is like, your whole desk like is filled with bobbleheads. I'm like, she was like, are you even having room for any more? Like, why are you keep buying? I was like, I don't know. It's an obsession.
Yeah.
It's an obsession.
Yeah, that's me with like yoga pants. I think I think the funniest thing that it's not funny, but it's kind of random, but like I'm ordering a 12 case of salsa from New Mexico. So seriously, my mom.
Are you like a big salsa fan?
Oh my gosh, I love tacos and burritos.
Right.
And so last week for Cinco de Mayo, I was like, okay, I'm going to look for a really good taco place and see if I can order my boyfriend and I some tacos and we'll get some tequila. No, like every place obviously was crazy busy. Yeah. But a few days later, I went to the same place. Best tacos that I've had hands down in Pennsylvania. They are so good. And they reminded me so much of home. It's called El Patron, and I was like, okay, it's safe because it's called El Patron. But no, seriously, it reminded me so much of like the food I would eat in New Mexico. And so I was so happy. And my mom just happened to send me salsas from this Mexican restaurant I used to work at when I lived down there. They have the best salsas ever. And so yesterday one came in and I already have like half a jar down. I'm like, okay. I've been craving this for like 2 years now, so I just need to like bite the bullet and order they have a 12-pack variety pack of salsas you can get for $54, which is a steal when you think about it because the 2 jars of salsa that my mom ordered alone were $24. And so they're all 16 ounces, but it's like 12, 16-ounce jars for $54 is not bad. I'm just going to order the 2 flavors that I really have 6 of these and 6 of these.
Excuse me. Do you like hot food? Like, is it hot?
Yeah, well, one of them is hot. Another one is like more Chipotle-y and like tastes like really like they used to cook their beans in it, and it was so good. So I have the Chipotle one, I have the traditional one, and it's so freaking good. I was so like someone told me, I was looking at a friend's story on Instagram, and she had gotten like the enchiladas from that place. I was like, girl, you're killing me. Like, there's nowhere that makes enchiladas like this. And she's like, they have an online store for the salsa. I was like, you're joking. And then I like texted my mom immediately. I was like, please, for my late birthday, can you give me these salsa?
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but I love hot
for
food.
someone who's like not Hispanic, you're very into Hispanic food. Like,
I was like basically raised there, so like
yeah,
that
yeah.
food, like it's so comforting to me. I
Initially,
miss
that's what
that.
I thought you were. Like, I thought you were Hispanic, and then but then you corrected me. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you've got that racially ambiguous look.
yeah, I know. A lot of people actually were asking me in Messenger from my series. They're like, not to be rude, but what's your ethnicity? Like, we're all
Yeah,
thinking that you're Latina. And I was like, oh, I'm so flattered,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm like kind of half. I'm Filipino.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, Spanish is
you've
invaded my
got that look.
country.
Yeah, you've got that look. You can go like either direction, like either way. But yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think the
yeah,
weirdest one I got was when I was in Romania. Someone was like, "Are you Russian?" I was like, "What?"
yeah.
Like,
You
but I
could
think
pass.
it's the dark curly hair.
Yeah, you definitely could pass. I get a lot of Hispanic. I get Cuban. I get like I had Hispanic people come up to start speaking Spanish. I'm like, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
I don't speak any Spanish.
Girl, no habla.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just like the hair, like the curly hair, dark hair. Like they think that maybe I am. Plus, I'm also in an area
Yeah.
with a lot of Hispanics, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, what else? What else is going on? I'm trying to. Oh, that's what I wanted to like. So about that injecting Lysol, we kind of veered off. Like how crazy is that?
I think this might be a very unpopular opinion, but I think he was being very satirical when he said that. That's just one woman's opinion because obviously, as any human being would know, injecting Lysol is obviously extremely lethal and dangerous, and I don't think that he was being serious.
So
But I think a lot of people took it out of context.
you're talking about Trump saying that, right? Okay,
Yes.
but I thought somebody actually did do that. Did you hear about that?
Oh,
Yeah, that
no.
somebody actually did do that. That's why.
Now I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
Google it. No, I thought you were just talking about the briefing because I was
No,
like,
no.
no, he's
Well,
not. He's not being serious, guys.
I mean,
A
you
lot of
would
people,
go ahead.
a lot of people were like, I can't believe this. Why is he telling me to do that? I was like, wait, no, I don't think. But that's
Yeah,
not to sway that I'm on any one side. But in that specific instance, I do believe that it was a bad joke, very
right,
ill timed.
right.
But
Well,
no, I need to look this
yeah.
up now.
Yeah, I mean, like whatever the case may be, I mean, uh, you know, him saying it or not saying it excluded. I mean, you should have enough sense not to inject Lysol into yourself
It's
or
like the
anything
Tide
else.
Pod
Like,
thing. The
yeah, yeah,
Tide
yeah.
Pod.
People are insane. Like they're literally insane. Like it's unbelievable, unbelievable. We had some other subjects like on the text. I'm trying to like scroll through them, remember, but it might be something that we can catch up with next time.
I'm
But
not. I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing about the
so
briefing.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's what people were referring to, just him saying it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you might be right because yeah, I don't think
I was like, what? But I mean, honestly, even if someone did do it, nothing like can even shock me at this point because while I'm so appreciative of the community that's being built on the internet, there's always going to be people doing
oh yeah, of
really
course,
silly
of
stuff.
course,
I'm
of
like,
course.
I can't believe anyone would ever eat a Tide Pod. Like, why would you? Why
Yeah.
would you? Where did that originate? But anytime I go buy them, like my boyfriend buys them for obviously for like the laundry, and so anytime he buys them, I'm like, oh, snacks.
I like how you said obviously for the laundry, like, he's not gonna eat them or anything. Like
I have to make the disclaimer now because someone did it.
that's hilarious. Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So I mean, I think we did like a good 30 minutes or more or something like
Yeah, I
that.
think probably
So
45
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, it's we'll save some energy for another episode.
I
What do
don't
you
think we even talked about being sane during
No,
but
that was the I guess indirectly we did. Yeah, like with all the internet stuff but yeah.
true, true.
But
Yeah.
you got plans today?
Yeah, I'm gonna teach a workout at 12 and then the live workout for my group at 6:30. I've got to teach a cello lesson online at 4:30.
Ooh.
Practice cello, and then I'm still assembling my 200-hour RYT binder, and then there is some serious laundry that needs my attention
Oh
today.
man, that's unbelievable.
Fun.
You've got such a full schedule. You make me want to go and do something. I'm actually gonna go and do some bike riding after we get off, so get some cardio in.
Oh, very nice, nice. I know you're killing it though. Like seriously, I see all of
Trying,
like the
trying.
workouts. There was someone that commented on one of your Instagram pictures and made me laugh. He's like, "Calm down, Hulk," or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like,
That's my bud. It's my
"Yep,
buddy. Yeah, yeah. It's like he's funny.
I was like,
He's in into fitness too. So it's always nice to like have like some kind of interaction like with people that are like interested in the same things you are. So yeah,
yeah,
very cool.
absolutely,
Very cool.
absolutely."
All right. So hey, so before I go, one thing, I think I've been mispronouncing your name this entire time since you've mentioned it a couple of times because I don't think we've actually like said each other's name back and forth. So like I just heard you say your own name and I'm like, how do you say it?
Sierra, like you're searing a steak.
So I kept saying Sierra, which is not your
A,
name.
a lot of people do, to be totally
Okay.
fair, my whole life. So like I'm not offended at all, and like I
Okay.
didn't want to correct you in the middle of the show either.
Oh,
So I
you
was like,
should have. You
it'll
should
just
have.
get brought up sometimes. So
Yes,
now is the
Sierra.
time.
Sierra.
Yeah,
That's much
yeah.
more interesting. Sierra is nice too, but like it's a different name. Yeah, Sierra. That's cool. Okay. All right. From now
Okay,
on, Sierra. Gotcha.
okay,
All
sounds good.
right. Take care.
Okay, I'll talk to you
See
later.
you. Bye.